The first part of ever administering any network, besides the fact that it might be a local area network, or LAN, as we would like to call it, or a wide area network, which is what we then term a WAN, and so forth. Part of the most important administration that you have to do, if not all of it, literally, is how users access the network itself. Because once you define that, this can depend on once you want to define it as simple and general, or you want to really go deep into it and define it at bigger levels. But once you do have a definition of that, it therefore means you have actually set up your local area network, or your network, so to say. But what then do you do for you to give access to users? The first thing that is important for users to have access to any resources over your network. Resources over your network could be your printers, your projectors, and photocopiers, phones, the internet itself, and so forth. The first thing that the users need to have is to have an account. Almost like with your bank, before you can start banking and transacting with any bank in South Africa or all over the world, you need to open an account with them. So that's what you need to set up with your users here. You need to set them account. Now, an account is then a collection of settings and information that tells Windows which files and folders you can access and what you can do on your computer. So for example, if you look at my computer itself, you'll see that my account here is written as student in Southern Africa, so forth, so forth. It therefore means that account was actually formed under this particular organization. So this account, we'll look at it later, it actually means it's a Microsoft account. You'll see that there are different types of accounts, and some are called local and some are called Microsoft accounts. We'll soon look into that very easily. So you can also manage these accounts. For example, it doesn't mean that my computer should only use that particular account that you just saw. I can also just go to my control panel, go to user accounts and family safety, and under user accounts, I can actually be able to add a new user account and so forth. Let's just check that out. If I just say control panel, I rarely go through those steps one by one. I always just search and find myself at the right place. So right now I'm now looking for user accounts. I think in Windows 8 it's named a little different. Here we are. In Windows 7 it will actually be user accounts and family safety and stuff. In Windows 8 Windows 8 and above, it will just say user accounts. Once I click on user accounts, you'll see I've got this one user account so far. I can actually go on to manage another, or make changes to this, or change my account type, or change my account name, or change user account control, and so forth. But unfortunately, I'm not gonna really show this in this particular account, because this will make me mess up this particular laptop, and I'm not ready to do that. But basically, this is where you come in to do those particular things. So I can actually manage my credentials over here. Go back to user accounts, manage my file encryption. If I want to add some encryption, basically add some safety to my files and so forth, I could actually use that to manage my account. So this is where you actually then come and make new accounts if you need to have new accounts, or change properties to a user. For example, change profile settings, profile properties. I could actually use that to change properties to this particular user over here. Now, if we then go to manage another account, you'll see that there's another account written here, which is written local account. This is actually an account which is a Microsoft account, meaning it's not local, it is stored on the web. Even if I lose this laptop, or even if I log into another computer elsewhere, I'll still see the stuff that I'm able to see here without using this particular laptop. But now, if I log in using this Evans laptop account, it's just a local account. It means when I lose this laptop, I also lose this account and all its settings and details and so forth. So I could actually add another account here by just clicking that button and saying add a work or a school user. That will be an account for Microsoft, which will be logged in using the password and the email address, meaning the user is not stuck to that particular device, but they can just log in onto any of our properties and be able to view their resources and get access to any other resources available. Or I could add another local account, meaning for all the people that have got access to this particular laptop, they could just come to this laptop and also just log in. Once I click on that, let me use this one since it's simpler to set up. I am asked to say, how will this person log in, by email or by phone? I'll then put in this information, but normally, remember, if it's a local account, it means that I do not have any Microsoft accounts and so forth. So I'll just come here and say, I don't have this person's sign-in information. They could set this up later, but for now, I'll just set it up as a local account. So I can then go ahead. It says now create an account, but I do not want to create an account. I want to add a user without a Microsoft account. As you can see, all I'll then need to do is to click in and fill in their name and put in their password, and we'll be good to go. So let me just say example user and leave the password blank. When you leave the password blank, it also means when they don't need the password, when they don't put anything, they'll be able to log in. Remember, this is just an example, so I don't need to put my security over it. That will just make our video longer. But if you want to put a password, you are free to do so. So this is how you literally manage your users on your computer, depending on what type of user you want to have. Sometimes you might actually want a local user, or sometimes you might actually want a Microsoft account enabled user who will be able to log in depending on where they are, and they are able to just use those resources. The difference between these is the fact that you will need to pay more to Microsoft for you to be able to set up Microsoft accounts. While a local users, you don't need to pay for those. But the advantage again of those paid accounts that I just gave you as an example is that you'll be able to log in from anywhere literally, and that then gives you access to being able to manipulate your data from literally all over the world, as long as you're able to log in. So those are the differences between these particular accounts. Depending on which one you choose, you'll be able to have certain access and so forth. So part of those accounts, you have what is called a username, which of course we all know what a username is what we use to identify that particular account. You can then put a password. This is then used for that user to be able to log in and avoid other people to log in without that user's permission. You can also have what is called a group. A group is a collection of user accounts that share the same security rights and permission. A user account must be a member of at least one user group. User groups could be different. We'll talk about them later, but we have guests, we've got administrators, and so forth. And each one of them has got different access to what they can do on that particular computer or that particular network. And then you have to put a type. All user accounts have a type which defines their permissions and what they can do in Windows. And again, we'll talk about that on the next video or the one after that. But basically, all these are the properties of all users that we can set up in Windows. And the way we set up these users could be different depending on which Windows you are actually using. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But at the end of the day, you'll be able to actually end up with your users with these different properties. Let's cut this video short so that we can talk about the rest of these things in the next following videos.